This is Chris Wooten with Wooten Injury Law. Today we're talking about what your rights are if you've been hurt on the job. This is something we get questions about a lot. In Alabama, if you are acting within the line of scope of your employment and you have an on-the-job injury, your rights are going to be covered by Alabama's workers' compensation system. In that case, the things that you have, your rights under the law are, first of all, to have all of your medical care for your on-the-job injury paid by your employer, usually through their workers' compensation carrier. Now, that's not just for an immediately aftermath of the wreck. That is technically for the rest of your life for that injury, especially if it's a significant injury. So that's something you always want to really take into consideration. The second thing you're entitled to is what's called temporary total disability. And that means if you are injured on the job and you're unable to work as a result of your injury, you should be paid 2/3 of your average weekly wage for however long a doctor has you out of work. Now, if it ends up in a situation where you're permanently unable to work, then that's going to change. But that 2/3 of your average weekly wage is what you should be paid if you've been hurt on the job and the doctor has you out of work on medical instructions. The last thing you're entitled to if you've been hurt on the job is what's called vocational impairment or vocational loss or disability. That basically means that once you have fully recovered from your injury, you've lost some of your ability to do the same kind of work. Usually you see this as what's called an impairment rating, which is something that's assigned by the workers' compensation doctors. So under Alabama law, that impairment rating is taken and put into a formula that is based upon what part of your body that's been injured and what kind of injury you had and what kind of job you had, what your pay was. And then that governs how much money you're entitled to be paid as far as that disability. All of this is stuff that is, it really depends. And there's a lot of gray areas depending on the kind of injury you had, depending on your age, depending on what field you work in. So if you've got questions about an on-the-job injury, you want to make sure and talk to an attorney about it.